I don't know.
Trip.
Like, how in the world did you ever come into my life? How did you find me?
Brian Peters in our office. I think, well, you did the presentation in our office, the Stonehenge, right? And then I think you reached out to Brian, but then, yeah, you called me, and I was like, yeah, I've got some listings coming up with some staging jobs, and then had you go out, and the sellers liked you, and you did an excellent job, and we sold the house quick and for top dollar, and so it just kind of kept going on.
Thanks, man. Guess what? Since then, we've done 61 deals.
Oh wow,
61, Rob.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
I know
That's like a lot.
that's a lot. Well, hopefully we can double that in the next 4 years. That'd be great.
I know, right? So how many do you do in a year? And what's normal? And you're a top producer, so what's that?
So I mean, last year I probably did about I mean, it's just me by myself. So I did in the 50s last year, whereas the year before I think I did 80 something, which was ridiculous. I mean, it's crazy because I mean I'm by myself, so I don't have a buyer's agent. I don't have like a team of other realtors. I mean, I'm my own person. So literally, I mean, 50s one a week, which is pretty busy. But the year before we did, I mean, everybody did record, like 80 deals. I mean, it was just crazy.
How do you do it without an assistant? I mean, what are you doing by yourself?
I mean, technology. I mean, I got a notebook. I take stuff. My wife is helping me as an assistant. She helps do like turn in listing paperwork, buyer's paperwork, normal stuff you got to turn in for the office. But, and that's probably an area I could probably do better at, as far as trying to stay organized. I feel like I am pretty organized, but,
Yeah.
but when you get super busy and you get, you got a time block management is big, obviously set aside time, but then there's always those fires and stuff that happens. And then that becomes number one. And then, and the stuff you were going to work on. And that's where when the market was super hot, I mean, I think every realtor, it was kind of good when it slowed down. We were able to kind of be normal and take a deep breath.
I know, right? You were saying something earlier about, I'm so bored about talking about the market balancing because, yes, okay. But what you said that I thought was interesting is that it used to be so easy for the sellers. Like all they had to do was even mention that they were going to move. Don't even stick the sign in your yard and it's just going to go. But now, what did you say?
The sellers are having to put work. I mean, buyers are pickier, and I had sellers when the market was hot, and we talked about, hey, I know your house looks great, but I've got a stager that can come in, and it's like, well, why do I need to stage? Houses are just selling. I'm like, well, because you want to get maximum amount of money for your house. I mean, yeah, I know it'll sell, but we want to get you top dollar. But yeah, the sellers are having to put forth effort. I mean, it was really bad. I wouldn't even have company over for some of these houses, and people are putting it on the market and taking pictures. And I'm like, it's just, they were lazy and sloppy and not putting for their.
Yeah.
Now those houses aren't selling. And so.
It's interesting because even though last year was that crazy year, I'll never forget, I staged a house in Chapel Hill, that was listed at 700 and sold for 1.1. It was like a 311,000 over asking. And it was just a normal house. I mean, it was on big land, but I had the best year that I've ever had last year, but it wasn't because of staging. It was because everybody was so afraid of getting into the rat race of the market that they just decided to dwell instead of sell. And I was doing a lot more design jobs and furnishing Airbnbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, COVID changed a lot. I think a lot of people, with the opportunity to work from home, and then, if you can live anywhere, there's not a lot of inventory. There's not a lot of inventory, and you got, 10, 20 people bidding on houses. It's nuts. But now
what do you think it's like now? It's because Rob Partin, I hate to tell you, but we're still doing over asking.
Yeah, if the house is priced right, it looks good, it's staged, all those things. Yeah, those are still we're still seeing bidding wars on those. But it's not as, instead of 10 or 20 offers, it may only be 5 offers, right? Two, three, four,
Right.
five, but it's still enough to drive it up.